Gao Tu had always wanted something simple. Something he thought was unremarkable, even ordinary. He wanted to be seen. To be acknowledged. To be treated not as weak, not as less, but simply as an omega. And he wanted it from Shen Wenling. Shen Wenling, his colleague, his senior. The man who had occupied Gao Tu's thoughts for years had never given him that. Not fully. Not honestly. For a long time, that had been enough. To exist quietly, to remain in the shadows, to cling to the scraps of kindness, of acknowledgement, of fleeting warmth was enough. But time is cruel. Desire is dangerous. And what begins as a soft yearning can quickly grow into something darker, something greedy. Gao Tu found himself wanting more. More than acknowledgement. More than friendship. More than the simple fairness he had once hoped for. Now he wanted Shen Wenling's heart. And this new hunger frightened him. Shen Wenling had changed him. Not deliberately. But he had transformed a once innocent boy into someone who stole moments he did not deserve. Someone whose desires became tangled in lies. Someone whose hope for acceptance had become annoying, unbearable craving. Gao Tu shook his head, trying to push the thoughts away, but even in the quiet, even in the darkness of his room, he found himself imagining Shen Wenling could love him. The thought made his blood run cold. Madness, hallucination, delusion. And yet, he could not stop thinking it. And then, fate struck. The test was clear, undeniable. Gao Tu was pregnant. Time froze. His mind blanked. The sterile white walls of the clinic pressed down, heavy and suffocating. The doctor's voice was calm but firm. "Mr. Gao, you must terminate the pregnancy immediately. With your pheromone disorder, it is impossible for you to carry this child without the support of your alpha." The words hit him like thunder. Terminate. Impossible. Cannot. He wanted to speak. He wanted to scream. But his throat refused. Only a whisper escaped. "Is there no other way?" The doctor hesitated. "Artificial pheromones. Extracts from other alphas. Yes, they exist. But they are temporary. Unstable. They cannot replace the comfort of the alpha who fathered this child. You would be risking both lives. Yours and the baby's." Gao Tu gripped the edge of the chair until his knuckles were white. "But what if I tried? What if there was a way?" The doctor's frustration broke through his calm. "Mr. Gao, listen. This isn't a choice, it is survival. Without the alpha's pheromones, each day will make this pregnancy harder to endure. Your body is fragile. This is dangerous." Dangerous? Yet Gao Tu's heart beat with stubborn hope. He wanted this child, not as a statement of love, not as revenge, just as life. As proof that something precious could exist in this cruel, indifferent world. I want to keep this child," he whispered, ashamed to admit it aloud. The doctor's eyes widened. He slammed a medical record on the table. "Want? How can you want this? This isn't a game. You cannot do this alone. You cannot do this alone. Doesn't the alpha who fathered this child bear any responsibility?" Gao Tu flinched. He's not like that. It's not his fault. It's mine." But he would not let anyone talk him out of it. Not now. Not ever. Desperation drove him to action. He drafted legal documents. Property waivers, inheritance renunciations, parent-child severance agreements. He tried to protect himself. To create a barrier between him and the man he loved. A shield strong enough to survive betrayal. And yet, when he finally faced Shen Wenling, courage did not help. Only heartbreak. "Of course. Abort it," Shen Wenling said. The words shattered him. All hope, all planning, all dreams collapsed into dust. No artificial pheromones, no borrowed alpha, no reasoning could save him. He stood outside the clinic, staring at the ground. His father's voice cut through his fog of despair. "What will you do, Gao Tu? Have you thought about the future?" I don't know," he whispered, voice trembling. And then, unexpectedly, Shen Wenling appeared. "Gao Tu, long time no see. Why are you hiding? Don't come here. Let's talk. Years of avoidance, of fear, of longing, all crashed down in that instant. Gao Tu saw him. The man who had scorned Omegas, who had once broken him, who he had still loved quietly, desperately. And in that moment, Gao Tu felt something he had not allowed himself to feel in years. A fragile, trembling hope. He remembered the past, the quiet days of school, the small moments that had been stolen by circumstance and lies, the nights of unspoken warmth. He had thought that avoiding Shen Wenling as an adult could preserve the innocence of that memory. But now, all that caution melted away. Shen Wenling looked at him, his eyes softening, full of something Gao Tu had never dared to hope for.
I hate Omegas, he whispered. But if it's you,
I would love you to the point of madness. I don't like children. But if they are yours, I would never let them be hurt. The words struck Gao Tu like lightning. And yet, they warmed him. They thawed the fear and despair that had frozen his heart for years. Time seemed to stop. The past, the pain, the longing, all of it converged in that single moment. Gao Tu realized that even after lies, betrayal, and fear, some impossible dreams could survive. He was holding hope again. For the first time, he felt a sense of home. Gao Tu stood there trembling, as the weight of everything pressed down on him. Years of longing, fear, and desperation swirled inside his chest. His mind was a storm of memories. The quiet moments in school, the nights spent hiding feelings, the unspoken warmth he had once cherished. And now, Shen Wenling was here, in front of him, standing silently, watching him, as if the past years had never existed, yet somehow acknowledging every hidden corner of his heart. Gao Tu's thoughts raced. Could love survive betrayal? Could hope exist after despair? Could he still hold on to the fragile dream he had buried for so long? He looked at Shen Wenling's face, at the alpha who had once seemed unreachable. And for the first time, Gao Tu felt the weight in his chest shift. From fear to something lighter, something tender. A single simple thought bloomed inside him. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late. Maybe the future could be rewritten. Maybe the child growing inside him could be protected. Maybe he could finally be seen, finally loved, not as an Omega to pity or despise, but as himself. For the first time in years, Gao Tu allowed himself to breathe, to hope, to believe. If Gao Tu's story moved you, leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell to follow more ABO Desire tales and heart-wrenching BL stories. Your support helps bring more emotional stories like this to life.